will have hyperparathyroidism. XX men 100% develop MTC here. Seen in infancy, very aggressive, 50% develop pheochromocytoma. Hyperparathyroidism is not seen. Diffuse ganglioneuromas of lips, tongue, eyelids, GI tract, murphinoid face, megacolon, skeletal abnormalities with thick peripheral nerves. Infants die at young age. XXC cell hyperplasia is defined as more than 6 C cells per follicle or more than 50 per low power field. Its significance is in hereditary MCT but not in non-hereditary. Features: thyroid swelling often with enlargement of neck lymph node. Diarrhea, flushing 30%. Hypertension, pheochromocytomas and mucosal neuromas when associated with MEN2 syndrome. Sporadic and familial types occur in adulthood whereas cases associated with MEN syndrome too occur in younger age groups. Paraneoplastic syndrome like Cushing's and carcinoids. Note: consider MCT in thyroid swelling with significant diarrhea and hypertension. 50% of MCT spread to neck nodes. 15% have distant spread to liver, lung and bone. Investigations: USG neck, mass, nodal status. US abdomen to rule out pheochromocytoma. FNAC, amyloid stroma with dispersed malignant cells and C-cell hyperplasia. Calcitonin level of FNAC washout. Cytology with IHC is very useful. Serum calcitonin level. In normal individual it is less than 10 pg per milliliter or undetectable. If its unstimulated level is greater than 100 pg per milliliter then it is suggestive of MCT. Increase in stimulated calcitonin level is accurate after injection of calcium 2 mg per kilogram or pentagastrin 0.5 Ug per kilogram. Serum Sa level will be raised in greater than 50% of MTC patients. CEA greater than 30 mg per milliliter indicates incurability by surgery. Sa greater than 100 milliliter suggests extensive nodal spread. Raising Sa with stable calcitonin indicates the differentiation and poor prognosis. CT neck, chest, abdomen should be needed for metastatic workup. CT abdomen is also done for pheochromocytoma. Urinary metanephrine, VMA, 24 hours, should be done in suspected pheochromocytoma. Serum, calcium and parathormone, PTH, estimation for hyperparathyroidism. 111 indium octreotide scanning is useful in detecting MCT, 70% sensitivity. It is also useful in postoperative follow-up to find out residual or metastatic disease. Genetic testing for RET mutations. Treatment: surgery is the main therapeutic modality. Total thyroidectomy with bilateral central node dissection and ipsilateral lateral neck dissection if primary tumor is greater than 1 cm. Central nodes are positive. Positivity of central nodes is 81%. Opposite lateral neck node dissection is done if US neck shows opposite nodes or extensive ipsilateral neck nodes when present or bilateral primary tumors, multifocal, bilateral. Thyroxine replacement, maintenance therapy 100 Ug in the morning before food daily, is needed. No role of suppressive hormone therapy or radioactive iodine therapy. External beam radiotherapy for residual tumor disease. Somatostatin, octreotide for diarrhea. Adriamycin is the drug used as chemotherapy with limited results. If there is associated pheochromocytoma, it should be treated surgically by adrenalectomy first and later only total thyroidectomy is done. All family members of the patient should be evaluated for serum calcitonin and if it is high they should undergo prophylactic total thyroidectomy, can also be assessed by genetic evaluation. If there is positive RET proto-oncogene in MCT with MEN2A and familial MCT types, prophylactic total thyroidectomy is done at the age of 5 years. In positive RET proto-oncogene in MCT with MEN2B, prophylactic total thyroidectomy is done at the age of 1 year. MCT with associated parathyroid hyperplasia, 30%, in men EA. Total thyroidectomy with central nodal dissection with total parathyroidectomy and autotransplantation of half of gland in stenemastoid or non-dominant forearm brachyradialis muscle is done. Other therapies: external RT, somatostatin analogues, imatinib mesylate tyrosine kinase inhibitor, chemotherapy less success: adriamycin, capecitabine, 5-FU, irinotecan, newer targeted therapies. Prognosis: sporadic MCT and MCT with MEN syndrome 2 are aggressive. Familial MCT not associated with MEN2 syndrome has got better prognosis. Presence of nodal disease carries poor prognosis. Survival is overall good, 10 years, 85%, depends on type, familial nature, association for MEN syndrome, status at the time of presentation, size, nodal status, distance spread. Incidence of recurrence is 50% in MCT. Follow-up: serum calcitonin and SAR level. Imaging is needed. USG, CT neck and mediastinum. Recurrence in the neck should be treated with resurgery, exploration and disease clearance. External beam RT may be useful also. PET scan, MIBG scan are also useful. Follow-up for late-onset pheochromocytoma or hyperparathyroidism should be regularly assessed, annually. Calcitonin. It is a polypeptide of 32 amino acids. It is derived from ultimobranchial body. It is secreted from C cells of thyroid, parafollicular cells. It lowers the plasma calcium and phosphorus levels. It blocks the PTH-induced bone resorption. Calcium from The. Circulation is shunted into the bone. It increases the excretion of calcium, phosphorus, sodium and potassium. It rapidly lowers the serum calcium. Normally, it is less than 0.08 nanograms per liter, undetectable. It is increased in medullary carcinoma of thyroid. It is very good tumor marker for MCT. It confirms the relapse, metastases, residual disease. Increased levels in family members confirm the genetic relation and such relatives should undergo prophylactic total thyroidectomy. Calcitonin level will further increase after injection of calcium 2 mg per kilogram or pentagastrin 0.5 micrograms per kilogram. In disease-free individual, after therapy for MCT calcitonin level decreases. Calcitonin as a therapeutic agent is used in hypercalcemia, Paget's disease, bone pain of neoplastic diseases, menopausal osteoporosis. Calcitonin, PO, 4 units per kilogram is given SC or IM 3 times a week. Salmon calcitonin SC, IM, nasal spray, 50 to 400 units can be given 3 times a week or daily depending on need. Malignant lymphoma, it is NHL type. Occurs in a pre-existing Hashimoto's thyroiditis, not proved well. FNAC is useful to diagnose the condition, often trached biopsy. Chemotherapy and radiotherapy is the main treatment. Rarely total thyroidectomy is done to enhance the results. Hashimoto's thyroiditis, stroma lymphomatosa, also called as diffuse non-goitrous thyroiditis. It is an autoimmune thyroiditis, common in women, 15 times more common. There is hyperplasia initially, then fibrosis, eventually infiltration with plasma cells and lymphocytic cells. Ashkenazi cells are typical, like Hurdle cells. The river Struma arises in Bulgaria and flows into Aegean Sea. Struma means goiter. Banks of this river are endemic area for goiter. Painful, diffuse, enlargement of usually both lobes of thyroid which is firm, rubbery, tender and smooth, occasionally one lobe is involved. Initially they present with toxic features, but later, they manifest with features of hypothyroidism. Hyperplasia right-pointing arrow hyperthyroid, hashitoxicosis right-pointing arrow euthyroid. Fibrosis right-pointing arrow hypothyroid. There may be hepatosplenomegaly, it is often associated with other autoimmune diseases. In 85% cases significant rise in the thyroid antibodies, microsomal, thyroglobulin, or colloid antibodies, is observed. Common in perimenopausal females. It can predispose to papillary carcinoma of thyroid. Often condition may be associated with or may predispose to malignant lymphoma. It is, at present, not well proved. Investigations: FNAC, T3, T4, TSH. Thyroid antibodies assay. Usually ESR is very high, over 90 mm per hour. Treatment. 3/4. L-thyroxine therapy. 3/4. Steroid therapy often is helpful. If goiter is large and causing discomfort, then subtotal thyroidectomy is done. De Quervain's subacute granulomatous thyroiditis. It is due to viral etiology, either mumps or Coxsackie viruses, causing inflammatory response with infiltration of lymphocytes, neutrophils, multinucleated giant cells. Painful diffuse swelling in thyroid, which is tender, commonly seen in females. Initially there is transient hypothyroidism with high T3 and T4 but poor radioiodine uptake. FNAC is useful. It is usually a self-limiting disease. Prednisolone 20 mg for 7 days helps. Reader's thyroiditis, 0.5% common. A very rare benign entity wherein thyroid tissue is replaced by fibrous tissue, which interestingly infiltrates the capsule into surrounding muscles, paratracheal tissues, carotid sheath. Woody thyroiditis, ligneous thyroiditis. It is often associated with retroperitoneal and mediastinal fibrosis and sclerosing cholangitis. There is both intrathyroidal as well as extrathyroidal fibrosis. It also encroaches parathyroids and recurrent laryngeal nerves. It may be unilateral or bilateral. Swelling with irregular surface, stony hard consistency, stridor, with positive Berry sign, absence, unpalpable carotid pulsation, small goiter, common in males. Differential diagnosis: anaplastic carcinoma of thyroid. Investigations: 3/4. T3, T4 may be low due to hypothyroidism. 3/4. Radioisotope scan will not show any uptake. FNAC to rule out carcinoma. Treatment: 3/4. Ischectomy is done to relieve compression on the airway. They require L-thyroxine replacement later, as hypothyroidism is common. 3/4. High dose of steroid often used. Thyroidectomy is not necessary. B. Recent rapid increase in thyroid swelling is due to XX previous MNG undergoing malignant transformation, XX hemorrhage into a nodule, XX anaplastic carcinoma of thyroid. Causes of dyspnea, stridor in thyroid diseases. XX carcinoma, thyroid infiltrating recurrent laryngeal nerve, trachea, XX large, long-standing goiter causing tracheomalacia, XX retrosternal goiter, XX congestive cardiac failure in thyrotoxicosis. B. Narrowing of trachea is seen in XX scabbard trachea in long-standing MNG. Other purposes: non-thyroid, imaging modality, a thorough specific sonographic evaluation of the thyroid gland should be performed. Carcinoma of thyroid, XX Reader's thyroiditis, XX retrosternal goiter. Remember, goiter is enlargement of the thyroid gland. XX solitary nodule is single palpable nodule on clinical or sonological examination without palpable rest of the gland. XX dominant nodule is single nodule with palpable enlargement of the remaining thyroid gland. XX thyroid swelling is confirmed by its movement with deglutition due to attachment of enclosed pretracheal fascia to inferior constrictor muscle, which is attached to trachea and cricoid cartilage and so moves with deglutition. XX Berry's ligament is condensed vascularized pretracheal fascia postero-superomedially. It is important as it is close to recurrent laryngeal nerve. XX any thyroid swelling can be malignant unless proved otherwise. XX ultrasound neck, FNAC, estimation of T3, T4, TSH are essential investigations. XX MRI neck is needed in large goiter and fixed or malignant thyroid. XX radioisotope study I-123 is done only in selected cases like borderline toxicity, ectopic thyroid, retrosternal goiter, and after thyroidectomy in follicular carcinoma thyroid to see secondaries during follow-up period. XX normal thyroid gland is usually not palpable. XX a rare entity called as black thyroid shows lipofuscin deposition in thyroid in a patient who is on long-standing tetracycline therapy which may interfere with thyroid function. B. Occasions wherein thyroid swelling may not move upwards with deglutition. XX anaplastic carcinoma thyroid, often XX carcinoma thyroid with extensive local infiltration into soft tissues, trachea, larynx and posterior muscles. XX intrathoracic retrosternal extension with infiltration, impaction. XX Reed's thyroiditis with encasement of trachea. XX massive thyroid wherein upward movement is difficult to observe and appreciate. Thyroid incidentoloma. Thyroid incidentoloma is defined as an unsuspected, asymptomatic thyroid lesion that is discovered on an imaging study or during an operation unrelated to the thyroid gland. Thyroid incidentalomas are most commonly detected on ultrasound, followed in frequency by CT scan and MRI, carotid duplex scanning and PET scan. The incidence of carcinoma in incidentoloma is not insignificant, as these imaging methods are done for some. Other purposes: non-thyroid, imaging modality, a thorough specific sonographic evaluation of the thyroid gland should be performed in all thyroid incidentalomas. A sonographically confirmed thyroid nodule should be managed like any other clinically identified thyroid nodule disease. Thyroidectomy types. 1. Hemithyroidectomy. Along with removal of one lobe, entire isthmus is removed. It is done in benign diseases of only one lobe. It is also done in follicular neoplasm involving only one lobe. Solitary toxic or non-toxic nodule, thyroid cyst are other indications. 2. Subtotal thyroidectomy, commonly done in toxic thyroid either primary or secondary and also often for non-toxic multinodular goiter. Here about 8 grams, or a tissue, size of pulp of finger is retained on lower pole, on both sides and rest of the thyroid gland is removed. It is also done in MNG. 3. Partial thyroidectomy, by Thomas, is removal of the gland in front of trachea after mobilization. It is done in non-toxic multinodular goiter. Its role is controversial. 4. Near total thyroidectomy, here both lobes except the lower pole, one or other sides, which is very close to recurrent laryngeal nerve and parathyroid is removed, to retain blood supply to parathyroids. It is done in case of papillary carcinoma of thyroid. Here less than 2 grams of thyroid tissue is left behind near its lower pole on one side, usually opposite side of the deceased, occasionally on both sides. 5. Total thyroidectomy, entire gland is removed. It is done in case of follicular carcinoma of thyroid, medullary carcinoma of thyroid. 6. Hartley-Dunhill operation is removal of one entire lateral lobe with isthmus and partial, subtotal removal of opposite lateral lobe. It is done in non-toxic multinodular goiter. 4 grams of tissue is left behind only on one side. B. Preoperative preparation. XX blood grouping and cross-matching. Keep the required blood ready. XX indirect laryngoscopy. Patient is asked to tell A. To check the abduction of vocal cord. XX video stroboscopy, it is special method to visualize the vocal cord vibration. 70-degree rigid strobolaryngoscope is used with mounted microphone. Flexible laryngostroboscope also can be used. Patient in sitting position, video stroboscope is passed to visualize vocal cords and patient is asked to tell E to examine vocal cord vibration as a slow motion. XX serum calcium estimation. XXT3, T4, TSH. Thyroid antibodies. ECG and cardiac fitness, especially in toxic goiter. Lugol's iodine 10 days prior to surgery to make gland firm and less vascular. Procedure. Position. 3/4. Under general anesthesia, patient is put in supine position with neck hyperextended by placing a sand bag under shoulder, with table tilt of 15-degree head up to reduce venous congestion, rose position. Incision, 3/4. Horizontal crease incision is done, 2-finger breadth above the sternal notch, from one sternomastoid to the other, Koch's thyroid incision, posterior margin of sternomastoid. Procedure, 3/4. Skin and platysma are incised, subplatysmal plane, upper flap raised up to thyroid cartilage, lower flap up to sternoclavicular joint. Deep fascia is opened vertically in the midline. 3/4. Strap muscles are retracted. In large goiter they are often divided in upper part to retain their nerve supply and cervicalis. Often anterior jugular veins need to be ligated using 3/0 vicryl. Note the incision for thyroid surgery. Hemithyroidectomy. Entire one lateral lobe and entire isthmus are removed, retaining entire opposite lateral lobe. It is done in solitary nodule, toxic or non-toxic adenoma in one lobe. Subtotal thyroidectomy. It is done in toxic, non-toxic multinodular goiter. Most of the gland except lower pole, 4 to 8 gram, on both sides is removed. Partial thyroidectomy. It is done in non-toxic nodular goiter if there is adequate normal gland posteriorly. Tissue in the tracheoesophageal groove is retained. Isthmus and gland with nodules in front is removed. It is not commonly done now. Near total thyroidectomy is done in papillary carcinoma of thyroid. Here most of the gland except small tissue of 1 gram on lower aspect of one side usually is retained to safeguard recurrent laryngeal nerve and parathyroid gland. Total thyroidectomy is done for follicular carcinoma and medullary carcinoma of thyroid. Hartley-Dunhill procedure. Here one entire lateral lobe, isthmus, and most part of the opposite lateral lobe except small quantity of tissue in the lower pole, tracheoesophageal groove, subtotal, partial, 1 gram is retained. Skin flaps raised in thyroidectomy. Thyroid covered with pretracheal fascia is seen. Total thyroidectomy specimen done for follicular carcinoma of thyroid. Typical thyroidectomy postoperative scar. Note the relation of recurrent laryngeal nerve. Pretracheal fascia is opened vertically to expose thyroid gland. Short stout middle thyroid vein which enters the IJV is ligated immediately, first vessel to ligate. It is vein without accompanying artery, using vicryl or silken divided. Avulsion of this vein from its junction to IJV will cause bleeding. Gland is mobilized medially using peanut dissection and bipolar cautery. 3/4. Superior pedicle is dissected. Artery and vein are individually ligated and divided. In olden days mass ligation close to gland at superior pole was the practice. Chances of injuring external laryngeal nerve and AV fistula may happen in mass ligation. It is also always better to identify external laryngeal nerve entering the cricothyroid. Dissection is done in an avascular plane between cricothyroid and gland. 3/4. Parathyroids both superior and inferior are identified. They are 6 times 4 times 2 mm in size, weighing 50 mg with yellowish brown, orange brown color. Superior, parathyroid IV, and inferior, parathyroid 3, glands are identified and dissected. Both glands receive their blood supply from inferior thyroid artery and through an anastomotic branch. Superior parathyroid is above and behind the junction of RLN and inferior thyroid artery. Inferior parathyroid is below and in front of this junction. 3/4. Recurrent laryngeal nerve should be identified with careful dissection through its entire course. Riddle's triangle is between inferior thyroid artery above, carotid artery laterally, trachea medially. From this area nerve runs upwards to enter the larynx at greater conus of thyroid cartilage. Many branches of nerve and the variations should be remembered while dissecting here. One should not use monopolar cautery here. Only bipolar cautery should be used carefully. Nerve usually crosses the inferior thyroid artery from deeper aspect, but variations are common. Posterior extension of lateral thyroid lobes close to Berry's ligament is called a Zuckerkandl tubercle, which is seen in 40% of cases. Nerve runs upwards in a fissure between Zuckerkandl tubercle and trachea or main thyroid gland. Non-recurrent laryngeal nerve, 0.5%, is occasionally seen in right side due to failure of development of fourth aortic arch. It directly arises from vagus, enters the larynx. Position of the patient for thyroid surgery. Head end elevated, sandbag under the shoulder. Patient under anesthesia with proper position for thyroidectomy surgery. Position of neck in thyroid surgery. Coach's thyroid incision for thyroidectomy. Suction drain kept after thyroidectomy. At the level of inferior horn of thyroid cartilage. Recurrent laryngeal nerve is in close contact with suspensory ligament of Berry. 3/4. Inferior thyroid artery, which is a branch of thyrocervical trunk, ascends upwards reaching gland at its lower pole after turning towards midline behind the carotid artery. Here ligation is done at capsular level by identifying every small branch entering the gland, capsular ligation of inferior thyroid artery. This retains the blood supply of parathyroids, which is very important. In olden days, ligation of inferior thyroid artery was done away from the gland, often in continuation using absorbable suture material, is now no longer in practice. 3/4. Mobilized gland is removed. Critical points of recurrent laryngeal nerve injury are, at the entry of inferior thyroid artery and crossing the nerve, at suspensory ligament of Berry, at lower pole of the gland. Note: thyroid steel. In thyrotoxicosis, patient is taken to operation theatre daily for few days before doing surgery, so as to reduce the anxiety of the patient. MIVI, minimally invasive video-assisted thyroidectomy, is becoming popular for small nodules and gland without thyroiditis. But it is costly. Robotic thyroidectomy, thyroidectomy through axillary incision, thyroidectomy through intraoral approach are all newer approaches for thyroidectomy. Vocal cord monitoring through specialized electrodes placed along the endotracheal tube and also to vagus to assess recurrent laryngeal nerve during surgery is accepted method currently, but facilities are available in most of the centers. Complications of thyroidectomy. 1. Hemorrhage. May be due to slipping of ligatures either of superior thyroid artery or other pedicles or small veins. It causes tachycardia, hypotension, breathlessness, and compression over the trachea may cause severe stridor, respiratory obstruction due to tension, hematoma under strap muscles. As a first aid, immediate release of sutures including that of deep fascia has to be done and pressure over the trachea is released. Then patient is shifted to operation theatre and under general anesthesia exploration is done and bleeders are ligated. Blood transfusion may be required. 2. Respiratory obstruction. It may be due to hematoma. If it is so, the hematoma has to be evacuated, or due to laryngeal edema, or due to tracheomalacia or bilateral RLN palsy, emergency endotracheal intubation is done along with steroid injections. Often emergency tracheostomy may be required as a life-saving procedure. Laryngeal edema is the commonest cause, may be due to hematoma with tension along with intubation, injury and surgical trauma. In such situation, even though hematoma should be evacuated immediately to avoid further compression, airway obstruction will not be relieved due. to laryngeal edema, and so endotracheal intubation is also needed immediately. In difficult situation, if it is impossible to intubate, a needle tracheostomy using 12-gauge needle, 2.3 mm diameter, is done temporarily. 3. Recurrent laryngeal nerve palsy. It can be transient or permanent. Transient is 3% common. They usually recover in 3 weeks to 3 months. Often they require steroid supplement and speech therapy. Permanent paralysis is rare. It presents with hoarseness of voice, aphonia, aspiration, ineffective cough. Unilateral injury can be well compensated. It is advisable to do routine postoperative ILS on 5th postoperative day. Later ILS is done in 4 weeks and 12 weeks. 4. Hypoparathyroidism. It is rare, 0.5% common. Mostly it is temporary due to vascular spasm of parathyroid glands, occurs in 2nd-5th postoperative day. Present with weakness, plus Chavostick's sign, carpopedal spasm, convulsions. Serum calcium estimation is done and then 10 ml of 10% calcium gluconate is given IV 8 hourly. Later supplemented by oral calcium carbonate 500 mg 8 hourly. After 3 to 6 weeks, patient is admitted, drug is stopped and serum calcium level is repeated. Note the location of parathyroid glands. Note, earliest symptom of hypocalcemia is muscle weakness. 5. Thyroid crisis, thyroid storm, thyrotoxic crisis. It is a rare but severe life-threatening complication of hypothyroidism with acute hypermetabolic state induced by release of excessive thyroid hormones. Crisis can be due to surgical or medical causes. Causes. It occurs in a thyrotoxic patient inadequately prepared for thyroidectomy or thyrotoxic patient presents with crisis following an unrelated operation or stress. Complications of thyroidectomy. Metabolic. Hypoparathyroidism, temporary hypoparathyroidism, temporary hypocalcemia without hypoparathyroidism, hungry bone syndrome. Permanent hypoparathyroidism, spurious hypoparathyroidism, total calcium is less but ionized calcium is normal, thyroid crisis hypothyroidism, thyroid failure, myxedema. Intraoperative, hemorrhage, nerve injuries. External laryngeal nerve injury, pitch of the voice is lost. Recurrent laryngeal nerve injury, vascular complications, hemorrhage, primary and reactionary. Hematoma formation, compromised tracheoesophageal blood supply. Immediate postoperative, hematoma, laryngeal edema, respiratory obstruction, stridor. Hypoparathyroidism. Other complications. Respiratory obstruction, skin flap necrosis, rare infection. Discharge and sinus formation, wound granuloma, keloid formation. Late postoperative, hypothyroidism, recurrent nodule, recurrent toxicity, wound infection. Other causes are infection, trauma, preeclampsia, diabetic ketoacidosis, emergency surgery, stress, drugs like anticholinergics or antiadrenergic or NSAIDs or chemotherapy, diabetes mellitus. Features. They present 12 to 24 hours after surgery, but on table also, it can occur occasionally. Hyperpyrexia, greater than 41 degrees Celsius, severe dehydration, circulatory collapse, hypotension, palpitations, tachycardia, tachypnea, hyperventilation, cardiac arrhythmias, cardiac failure. GI symptoms like vomiting, diarrhea, jaundice, restlessness, irritability, delirium, tremor, convulsions and coma can occur. Bailey's symptom complex of thyroid storm are insomnia, anorexia, diarrhea, vomiting, sweating, emotional instability, fever, tachycardia, aggravated toxic features, multi-organ dysfunction. Birch-Watowski score, 1993, is used to identify or predict the thyroid storm using different parameters. Score of below 25 excludes storm. Score 25 to 45 suggests impending storm. More than 45 means thyroid storm. Death may ensue suddenly. Differential diagnoses are malignant hyperpyrexia, septic shock, anxious status, cardiac disorders. Investigations: raised T3, T4, suppressed TSH, raised serum calcium, ECG and echocardiography shows changes, raised total count, altered liver function tests, arterial blood gas, ABG, shows changes, altered electrolytes. Treatment: supportive measures, rehydration by proper fluid therapy, tepid sponging, cooling blankets, antipyretics like paracetamol IV infusion, glucocorticoids, hydrocortisone 500 mg IV or dexamethasone injections, IV dextrose infusion as there is more metabolic demand, correction of electrolytes, treating cardiac arrhythmias, ICU care with ventilator support. Central line, CVP monitor, nasogastric tube, urinary catheter should be placed. Antiadrenergic drugs. Propranolol 80 mg orally or through nasogastric tube 6 hourly, or IV propranolol 1 mg IV in 10 minutes followed by 2 mg in 10 minutes as per need. When propranolol is contraindicated in asthma, heart block and failure, cardioselective beta blockers like atenolol, metoprolol can be used. Esmolol IV loading dose is 500 UGM per kilogram followed by 100 UG per kilogram minute infusion is also effective. Razapine 500 UG per kilogram loading dose, then 5 UG per kilogram per minute, heart rate should be less than 100 per minute. Thionamides, propylthiouracil, PTU, 200 mg 4th hourly or methimazole 20 mg 4th hourly or carbimazole is used. Hepatotoxicity of PTU should be remembered. Iodide compounds. Lugose iodide or potassium iodide is given 1 hour after intake of thionamides. 10 to 15 drops of Lugose iodine 8th hourly is used. SSKI, saturated solution of potassium iodide, 5 drops 6th hourly is useful. Injection sodium iodide 1 gram IV is also used. Glucocorticoids, reduce the peripheral conversion of T4 to T3 and controls the shock. Hydrocortisone 5 mg per kilogram 6th hourly or dexamethasone 0.2 mg per kilogram per day are used. Bile acid suppressants to prevent reabsorption of thyroid hormone from the gut, cholestyramine 4 grams 6th hourly. Iodinated radiocontrast dyes like iopanoic acid is also beneficial. Lithium carbonate 300 mg 6th hourly is also useful. Digitoxin, cardiac monitoring are crucial. Treating specific causes like diabetes, sepsis are important. Antibiotics, fluid and electrolyte management and monitoring is a must. Other measures: hemodialysis, plasmapheresis, exchange transfusion, charcoal plasma perfusion are other methods used to control the storm. 6. Injury to external laryngeal nerve. It causes weakness of cricothyroid muscle leading to alteration in pitch of voice, voice fatigue, breathy voice, frequent throat clearing. EELS reveals short hypoemic vocal cords, lower level affected vocal cord, oblique glottis chink due to rotation of the posterior commissure to the paralyzed one. Hypothyroidism, revealed clinically after 6 months. 8. Wound infection, stitch granuloma formation. 9. Keloid formation. 10. Recurrent thyrotoxicosis is 5% common. It is due to retaining of more thyroid tissue during thyroidectomy for toxic thyroid. It is difficult to manage. It is treated with antithyroid drugs, radioiodine therapy or re-excision surgically, which is technically demanding, so often avoided. B. Remember, in thyroidectomy, XX middle thyroid vein is present only in 30% of cases. XX bipolar cautery or harmonic scalpel, harmonic wave, are better to control bleeding and to prevent injury to RLN. XXRLN should be identified in both sides. Variations should be remembered. XX parathyroids should be retained and also their blood supply. XX parathyroid autotransplantation may be needed if their blood supply is compromised. XX rapid influx of serum calcium into bones in immediate postoperative period may cause severe hypocalcemia, hungry bone syndrome, which is initially corrected by IV calcium gluconate, 10 ml of 10%. It is more commonly observed in patients with beta blockers. It is due to sudden drop in PTH level after surgery. XX tension hematoma under strap muscles is very dangerous and should be relieved by removing sutures from the skin and strap muscles. XX permanent hypoparathyroidism is rare, 0.5–1%, whereas temporary hypoparathyroidism and hypocalcemia is common, 25%, which is corrected well with calcium for certain period of 3 to 6 months. XX external laryngeal nerve injury is more common than of RLN. There is loss of tension of vocal cords causing reduced power and range in voice pitch. XX thyroid insufficiency develops in 25 to 45% cases. It is confirmed by doing serum T3, T4 and TSH after 6 months. Emil Theodor Kocher. He is the first surgeon to get Nobel Prize. He did extensive work on thyroid surgeries and designed present technique of thyroid surgeries. He was from Switzerland. He was the founder of Kocher's vein. Kocher's forceps has got tooth in the tip. Kocherization, duodenal mobilization. Kocher's incision, right subcostal for cholecystectomy. Kocher's thyroid incision. Kocher's test. Kocher's eye sign. Kocher's method for reduction of shoulder dislocation. He died in 1917. He is the father of thyroid surgery. Other surgeons who got Nobel Prizes are Alexis Carrel, for his work on vascular anastomosis, Christian Barnard, for heart transplantation, Charles Huggins, urologist, for management of carcinoma prostate. Kocher's test. In case of a huge or long-standing thyroid enlargement, both lateral lobes of thyroid are pushed posteromedially with fingers. The test is positive if it produces stridor. This signifies weakened tracheal, rings, cartilage because of constant pressure by the thyroid gland. But then trachea is kept patent by the thyroid itself. Once the gland is removed, there is no support to trachea and so it collapses, causing stridor, scabbard trachea. Such patient requires temporary tracheostomy for 2 to 3 weeks. By then trachea regains its strength back. Hypothyroidism B causes. After thyroidectomy, common cause XX agenesis or dysgenesis, enzyme deficiency XX iodine deficiency, Hashimoto's thyroiditis, antithyroid drugs XX radioiodine XX drugs, lithium, amiodarone. Primary is due to thyroid diseases or removal of thyroid. Secondary is due to hypopituitarism. Tertiary is due to hypothalamic diseases. B. Cretinism XX. It is fetal, infantile hypothyroidism due to inadequate thyroid hormone production during fetal and neonatal period. It may be due to agenesis, inborn error of thyroid metabolism, dihormonogenesis or dietary deficiency, endemic. XX typical horse cry, macroglossia, umbilical hernia, thickened skin are the features. XX TSH will be raised, T3 and T4 will be low. XX incidence is 1/4,000 live births. XX it is treated with L-thyroxine once a day morning orally. Features: general, tiredness, weight gain, cold intolerance, goiter, hyperlipidemia. Cardiovascular, bradycardia, angina, cardiac failure, pericardial effusion. Hematological, anemia, dermatological, dry skin, vitiligo, alopecia, erythema. Reproductive, infertility, menorrhagia, galactorrhea. Gastrointestinal, constipation, ileus. Developmental, growth and mental retardation, delayed puberty. Other features: carpal tunnel syndrome, myalgia, hoarseness, deafness, ataxia, depression, psychosis, myxedema, madness. Myxedema coma. Characteristic features: hypothermia, hypotension, hyponatremia, hypoventilation, hypoglycemia, bradycardia. Skin is deadly cold like of a toad. Coma. Precipitated by cold, infection, trauma. Drug of choice: T3. Levothyronine 10 micrograms given IV 6th hourly. Levothyroxine 300 micrograms IV, 1000 micrograms orally, large dose. Glucocorticoids, antibiotics. Slow warming, electrolyte management. Investigations: T3, T4 estimation, TSH level estimation which is higher. Treatment: 3/4. Replacement with L-thyroxine 100 to 150 micrograms per day. In old patients with ischemic heart disease, initial therapy is with 25-50 micrograms per day and then gradually increased up to the required dose. 3/4. Initial rapid response can be achieved by giving L-iodothyronine 20 micrograms TID. Recurrent laryngeal nerve palsy. Anatomy and relations of nerves with thyroid gland. A. External laryngeal nerve is a branch of superior laryngeal nerve. Vagus gives superior laryngeal nerve branch at inferior ganglion of vagus, which is at the level of greater cornu of hyoid bone, which in turn divides into internal laryngeal and external laryngeal nerves. Internal laryngeal nerve pierces the thyroid membrane and gives sensory supply to larynx above the vocal cord and hypopharynx. External laryngeal nerve runs close to superior thyroid vessels to supply cricothyroid muscle, which is tensor of vocal cord. It may get injured while ligating superior pedicle, causing defective pitch of the voice. So upper pedicle of thyroid should be ligated close to gland. B. Figs 6.70 A and B. Typical myxedema patient. T. Myxedema close to gland. B. Figs 6.70 A and B. Typical. Recurrent laryngeal nerve is a branch of vagus which hooks around ligamentum arteriosum with arch of aorta on the left and right subclavian artery on the right side. It runs in the tracheoesophageal groove near the posteromedial surface close to thyroid gland. Nerve lies in between branches of inferior thyroid artery. So inferior thyroid artery should be ligated away from the gland. Anomalies of the nerve should be remembered. In 5% of cases, nerve passes through the gland. Nerve may be much more away from the gland. Nerve may be closely adherent to gland posteriorly. Nerve may lie within the ligament of Berry, 25%. Non-recurrent laryngeal nerve may be present in 1 in 1000 cases with a horizontal course. RLN supplies all muscles, abductors, adductors, of the larynx except cricothyroid and also gives sensory supply of larynx below the vocal cords. Muscles of the larynx. Cricothyroid. It is the only muscle which is located on the external aspect of the larynx. It is supplied by external laryngeal nerve. It is tensor and mild adductor of the vocal cord. Abductors of the vocal cord, posterior cricoretinoids. Adductors of the vocal cord, lateral cricoretinoids, transverse arytenoid, thyroretinoids and cricothyroids. Relaxant of vocal cords, thyroretinoids and vocalis. Muscles which close the laryngeal inlet, oblique-arytenoids and epiglottic. Muscles which open the laryngeal inlet, thyroepiglotticus. Positions of vocal cord 487. Median, paramedian 1.5 mm, normal, cadaveric, neutral 3.5 mm, gentle abduction 7 mm, completely abducted 9.5 mm. Anatomy of superior and recurrent laryngeal nerve. Superior laryngeal nerve divides into internal and external laryngeal nerves. Right recurrent winds round subclavian artery and left winds around arch of aorta. On-table identification of recurrent laryngeal nerve is a must during thyroidectomy. B. Assessment of voice change. A. XX pitch of the voice, whether raised, lowered or pitch locked. XX breath support during speaking is adequate or not. XX ability to alter the rapidity of speech, slow, fast, medium. XX altered laryngeal and neck muscle tension. XX indirect laryngoscopy, with tongue pulled out using gauze, warmed ILS is placed into the oral cavity to see vocal cords. Patient is asked to say, A. To see the vocal cord movements. Types. 1. Unilateral recurrent laryngeal nerve palsy. 2. Bilateral recurrent laryngeal nerve palsy. 3. Unilateral, combined recurrent laryngeal and superior laryngeal nerve palsy. 4. Bilateral, combined recurrent laryngeal and superior laryngeal nerve palsy. 1. Unilateral recurrent laryngeal nerve palsy. All intrinsic muscles of the larynx except cricothyroid are paralyzed. Vocal cord becomes median or paramedian position. Reasons are, A. Only retained cricothyroid is a weak adductor of vocal cord causing median or paramedian position of vocal cords, Wagner-Grossman hypothesis. B. Causes for unilateral recurrent laryngeal nerve paralysis. B. Figs. 6.71 A and B. Anatomy of superior XX thyroidectomy. XX infiltration from carcinoma thyroid. XX infiltration from carcinoma esophagus. XX infiltration from carcinoma bronchus, left-sided. XX mediastinal tumors, left-sided. XX aortic aneurysms. XX trauma. XX idiopathic. XX neck or mediastinal lymph node. Abductor fibers which are phylogenetically newer to posterior cricoretinoid of the recurrent laryngeal nerve is more susceptible and paralyzed than adductor fibers, Simon's law. Features: asymptomatic in 33% cases. Some change in voice, which gradually becomes normal with speech therapy. Aspiration and airway obstruction never occurs. Treatment: no specific treatment is required, but steroid should be started. Prednisolone 20 mg TID for 10 days orally after food is given with gradual tapering in another 10 days. 2. Bilateral recurrent laryngeal nerve palsy. Both side intrinsic muscles are paralyzed. So both vocal cords lie in median or paramedian position due to unopposed actions of the both side cricothyroid. Features: change in voice, severe dyspnea and stridor, more during exertion, leading to airway block and respiratory arrest. Treatment: emergency tracheostomy is needed. Lateralization of the cord is done by arytenoidectomy by open surgery or through an endoscope, or by vocal cord lateralization through endoscope. Often excision of vocal cord through an endoscope or laser cordectomy is required. Implantation of stenohyoid and thyroplasty are other procedures used. Vocal cord in recurrent laryngeal nerve palsies. Unilateral, combined recurrent laryngeal nerve and superior laryngeal nerve palsy. All the muscles on one side are paralyzed. Vocal cord is in cadaveric position, 3.5 mm from the midline. Features: hoarseness of voice, aspiration through ineffective glottis, ineffective cough. Treatment: speech therapy. Commonly held, the opposite cord moves to opposite side of the midline so as to compensate for the paralysis of the opposite side. Injection of Teflon to the paralyzed cord, muscle or cartilage implant to the paralyzed cord, arthrodesis of cricoretinoid joint. 4. Bilateral, combined recurrent laryngeal nerve and superior laryngeal nerve palsy causes, or total, paralysis of intrinsic muscles of larynx, total laryngeal anesthesia. Features: aphonia, no voice, aspiration due to severe glottis incompetence and laryngeal anesthesia, absence of cough, retention of secretions in the chest, respiratory arrest. Treatment: emergency tracheostomy, fixing epiglottis over the arytenoids to prevent aspiration, Plication of vocal cords to prevent aspiration, often needs total laryngectomy. XX unilateral recurrent laryngeal nerve palsy, not dangerous. XX bilateral recurrent laryngeal nerve palsy. Most dangerous. XX unilateral combined palsy. XX bilateral combined palsy. Not dangerous, dangerous.